Alright, hello everyone, my name is Dakoba and welcome back to World of Warcraft. Today we're going to be taking a look at another one-button rotation sequence. This time we are looking at Guardian Druid, and what this will do is allow you to bind your entire rotation onto a single key, which you can then spam over and over again in order to sort of take care of that part of the game for you, which lets you focus on other more important things like positioning, using defensive cooldowns, hitting your interrupts, managing your stuns and CCs, and so on. And I find that as a tank, this is especially helpful, especially useful, and so I have been doing this for a while, and I recommend giving it a try if you haven't yet. And the sequence that I've come up with for Guardian is really, really strong, and we'll be showing the sequence here. And at the end of the video, we'll take a look at the Underpin Delve, which just came out yesterday. I'm recording this the day after the season started, and the Delve went very, very smoothly. You guys will be able to take a look at that if you're curious to see the sequence in action. Now, what the sequence is it is a sequence for the Gnome Sequencer Enhanced add-on, which you can get on CurseForge. Type in GSSE to search for it, and when you install GSSE, you can go then into game and type in /GSSE and see this menu, and then you can go into sequences, and we'll also look at the Keybindings tab here in a minute. But a sequence can be loaded either by creating a new one or importing, and I'll post the import string in the description. I'll also post a link to a couple places where you can find this and other sequences if you want to take a look at some other ones. But you post that in and click import, and it will load it in for you. Now, I've already got this one in, so I'm just going to close that. But if you don't have it, it'll load in that Deck Guardian V3. And then now what a sequence in Gnome Sequencer is it is a series of macro or action blocks that you can specify that will be cast in order. So you can bind a series of these to a key, and the first time you hit the key, it'll fire off the first one. The next time it will fire off the next, and the next time it'll fire off the one after that, and so on down the list until you've done the entire sequence. Now, if we take a look at my sequence, you'll see there are two versions of it, and we default to number 2. That one casts Frenzied Regeneration by itself. Number 1 excludes that. That's how I started out using this, was keeping control of that. Turns out that I did better with it being included, so I've started using that myself as well, and so that's become the default sequence. Now, in order to use it, once you have a sequence loaded, you'll need to go into the Keybindings tab and bind it to a key. And so you can see I bind mine both to a key on my keyboard, that left square bracket, in case I want to tap it, but I also bind it to my mouse wheel scroll with control, which allows me to spam the sequence very, very quickly, so I can come over here and start fighting. Now, this sequence will not engage in combat if you are not already in combat, so I usually hit with a Moonfire or a Taunt as I'm running up. That is a choice that I've made, and so just be aware of that you will need to initiate combat manually before the sequence will start firing. But once it starts firing, it will handle your full rotation, and it does pretty decent damage for a bear tank, especially for an under-geared bear tank. If we take a look at my gear, you can see I'm only 622, almost 623 item level right now, and have just sort of a random smattering of stats. Bears in general want haste and versatility. I'm really low on haste right now, but verse is my highest stat. But as I sort of lean into haste and versatility, I would expect the sequence and the ability to use it to get even stronger. Now, in addition to binding the sequence, I also keep a number of keys, including my entire rotation if I need it, on my number keys where I can hit them manually if I need to. For example, if I see that Thrash isn't casting and I want to make sure that I'm redotting a group or spam swipe because I'm picking up new ads or something, I can do that. And then I also keep my Barkskin and Survival Instincts defensives on hand as well, because those are not included in the sequence. They're sort of too important to good Guardian gameplay that you have those available, so those aren't included. But outside of that, essentially the entire sort of survival kit is built in, and it works pretty well, and that lets us focus on using things like our CCs, our stuns, our interrupts, managing the fight, controlling the positioning of ourself and the ads, and then watching out for any runners who decide that our healer is a better target than us, so that we can quickly swap over and taunt those. As far as consumables go, I use the rib stickers and versatility flasks, and that seems to work pretty well for me. So let's go ahead and take a look at this sequence in action.
Galley wins. Wait, did I say galley
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. You can see that I don't have a super high level brand, just a 53. I've got him in damage spec with a level 2 ping augment chip and a level 1 KRRFt carrier. And that's just to sort of maximize his damage as much as possible, because as a tank we do need help burning through the boss's shield. Unfortunately, this fight from a combat perspective isn't that technical, so it doesn't require managing defensive cooldowns or CCs or anything like that. It's got a fair number of things that you need to dodge, but as a tank we have a little bit of a buffer there. But you can see that the sequence, you know, as long as I'm not standing in something, my health never drops, and I think that's a really strong point for the sequence. The one thing I would do differently if I would have to do this again on an alt is make sure that I bind my interact key to something on my keyboard, because the boss's hitbox when you're trying to click on those bombs is really, really big and really good at blocking you, making it so you can't click on them. But outside of that, the fight went very smoothly. But overall, it's you know, more of what we've already seen, and it's a pretty straightforward fight from the tank perspective. It's a little bit long, but it's not that difficult. And like I said, it doesn't really challenge what we're doing here. The hardest part is burning through these shields, which is why we sort of stack the damage brand. But otherwise, everything else went very, very smoothly. And this, again, this just came out yesterday, so I'd say this is pretty good content for where we're at in the season. So anyways, that's a demo of the sequence in action. I'll go ahead and show the rest of the fight if you're curious. But anyway, and I would love if you guys could take a look at the sequence, give it a try, let me know if it works for you. And if you want to show some support or see more of these, go ahead and leave a like or subscribe. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Have a good day.
to the counter, kid. 1, 2, and I'll blast you for what you've done. I'm out. I'm out. My neck is private property.